Live.
Welcome, everyone, to Live from the Edge. I'm Bruce Gibson, and we're so glad to have you. We're going to talk about Star Trek Discovery, episode 13 of season 2. Such sweet sorrow. But, of course, you just don't want to hear me talk. You want to hear Brandi Jackola talk, too. Hi, Brandi. How are you? With your key earrings.
Apparently, that's going to be a conversation piece tonight. Everybody get a good look. Anyway, I'm great, Bruce. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm at Star Wars Celebration in Chicago, and this is my break from Star Wars to focus on Star Trek now. So this is cool.
Yeah, we appreciate you taking the time to do this because I know you have a very busy schedule.
Look, I mean, why wouldn't I want to do this, right?
Right.
And Shashank Avvaru is with us again. And, I know you love Star Wars because you've been following things here at Celebration.
I have. Namaste, Homo sapiens. I'm here. And it's Star Wars Day. I don't want to ruin it for everyone. But yay, Star Wars. And yay, Star Trek.
I was on the subway coming back to my hotel, and these guys were on the subway talking to each other who were attending Celebration. They're like, this guy's like, I've had 2 people come up to me and say, hey, is there a Star Trek convention going on this weekend?
That's how you know it's a big Star Wars convention.
Yeah, so I think it's just great that they see Star Wars and they're thinking Star Trek. So that kind of makes me happy. And I see Automated Joy pointing out, yes, I shaved. I just why? I don't know. I just did. Yes, it's mere Bruce. David, you're right. So
you look like you're 12, man.
Yeah, the chat needs to let me know. Should I keep it off or do I bring it back? I always alternate anyway, so I can grow it like in a week.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of a beard. If you want to change, you can shave it off.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Yeah. And well, that's what Spock says, but he just hasn't shaved his off yet.
I know, but he's also keeping it up because it's not like it's grown all shaggy and stuff.
Did you guys get to see the Star Trek cruise picture? Did any of you see it?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for about 12 to 14 hours, there was a photo from the Star Trek cruise that showed Ethan Peck as Spock in the blue shirt and completely shaved with a live long and prosper thing. And a bunch of people tweeted about it, and then they shut it down and they asked everybody to remove the picture.
Well,
so yeah, someone got to see it. Yep.
So let me ask you this. I mean, we just saw this episode, which we're about to get into, and he still has the beard. He's still not in uniform. Will we see him in uniform and without a beard in the next episode, the last episode of the season?
My guess is at the very, very end, yes.
Mm-hmm. At the end, when everything's resolved and Pike and Spock and Number One are going off on their adventure, that's when you'll get a door opens and then Spock walks in and it's him in his blue shirt and completely shaven, and he's ready to go.
At the end of the Undiscovered Country, when the Excelsior is about to leave and Sulu and his crew are up on the view screen of the Enterprise, that's how it will be. We'll see Spock in the background over Pike's shoulder as Pike's like, it's been great working with you guys. See you around.
I have no idea how 13, 14 weeks went by. I'm going to be completely honest. I feel like it was yesterday I was sitting and watching the first episode and Pike just walked into our lives and here we are 1 week away from the finale.
Well, I think it makes a difference that they just aired all of the episodes consecutively instead of taking a break sort of in the middle. So we didn't have any time away during the middle of the season and we just went straight through. And so I don't know how it's been 13 weeks either, and just time keeps slipping through my fingers, and the more older I get, the older the older I get, the faster it goes.
Do you know what you need, Brandi?
What do I need?
You need a time crystal.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, is the time crystal, do you like this whole time crystal MacGuffin in the show? I mean, I didn't really at first because I was just like, it seems a little too fantasy, but then I read online, like these things are real.
Yeah, it never bothered me. And it's a means to an end. And it's something that's actually possible within the realm of science. So I'm just kind of like, you just do it. Just do it.
I really like it because it reminds me of Kryptonite from Superman.
It does a bit, except it's blue. But
It reminds me of the orb of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was another thought I had, but then it went away. But long story short, basically, it's no less ridiculous than slingshotting around the sun in a Klingon warbird. So I'm fine with it.
By the way, Brandi, David has the explanation I was going to share about why time seems to move faster when you get older.
Yeah.
I refrained, and I'm glad David shared it in the chat. Everybody should read it. Hey,
Yeah.
chat, you guys are awesome. Everybody's looking great.
Yep.
You can just sense it.
So, okay, I'm just trying to make sure. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't like this episode or I don't like Discovery. I love all this. But there are times where I'm like, okay, things seem a little too convenient sometimes, like they can make the suit that I'm glad it wasn't so simple. There was some discussion about how they couldn't, or maybe the suit wouldn't work or whatever, but they're able to make the suit. They have a time crystal. They're going to find, a supernova type thing, or they got enough energy to produce something like a supernova. What do you think about that whole thing to get to the point where we need to get Burnham and Discovery out of there?
I don't have a problem with it because all of the 7 signals are leading up to this point. And since it's already happened and Michael has already created those 7 signals, of course it's going to seem convenient because it was engineered this way.
Also, like Brandi said earlier, it's a means to an end. The conflict isn't whether the suit gets made or not. The conflict is Discovery is going to go away from space and time as we know it to God knows where. And that's the big struggle, right? So if they make that and then they also add in the complication of, they need to make a suit. It just becomes too much. And there's already the MacGuffin complication of what to do with the time crystal. It's not charging. So now they have to battle, as you see at the end, they have to battle Section 31 or Control. So I feel like that would be too much conflict with, it's easier to say we could make the suit. Here we go. This is how you do it.
When did we start having battles where we equip all the shuttlecraft with armament and they're all like flying all over? Like that's the first time we've seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, why haven't they done that before?
Why haven't they done that again? Is what I want to know.
No, that's exactly. Why all these seasons we've never seen that?
That would have helped like at Wolf 359, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
So
I know it's not the same, but I really got the Star Trek Beyond Swarm vibes with all the small things just hitting the ship.
Yeah.
Almost like they're bees just hitting big objects.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I felt that way.
I thought that, it reminded me of that too.
Yeah. At first time, I'm just like, what are all of these? Oh yeah, they said they were retrofitting the shuttles. Oh yeah, okay. But for a minute, I was just like, what are all? Wait, what? What's happened? Did Control already arrive? Oh no. Pay attention, Brandi.
Hey, we got more number 1. We've been wanting that since the hamburger scene.
Yeah, well, I really enjoyed her ship hitting the fan.
Yes, I want to talk about that. She did say ship with a T.
Yes, she did.
Is that correct? That's what I thought. I rewatched it this morning because I rewatched it with the closed captioning on to take notes, and they used it with a T in the closed captioning.
Wrong.
No, she said ship.
She said
that's
ship,
what I thought.
And if you look at her mouth when she's saying it, it's very obvious she said ship.
Not to the person who did the closed captioning.
Yeah, well, the closed captioners are not always reliable. That is horrifyingly true when you're watching local news.
I have a friend that used to do that.
If you ever want to see a nightmare that will make you laugh, turn on the closed captioning during a live local news broadcast.
Yes. Yeah. I work at a network that does live stuff, and it's an automated system, and it doesn't always get it right.
A lot of the time.
A lot of the time. Right. But yeah, I had a friend that used to, he lived in LA, and they would send him, video discs or whatever, and he'd have to go and transcribe it all for the closed captioning. And he was just sitting in his apartment doing it. And I could figure I could see where if he doesn't maybe always have the script in front of him or whatever, that he's just going with what he hears or thinks he hears. So ship or the other one.
It's ship.
Ship.
Yep.
That's what we say on this show.
I ship it. Sorry, that was the wrong use of shipping.
Speaking of ship, did you guys notice at the very beginning when we go out to the ships and we see Enterprise and Discovery, the music changes?
Yes.
You get the Enterprise music. I thought that was a cool little touch.
Yes. Yes. There was several little call outs to Enterprise music or original series music. And let's do it. I want to touch on this. Speaking of ships and Enterprise, the bridge, the corridors. I loved it. I thought they looked
turbo
beautiful.
lift. The turbo lift with the handles.
With the handles.
The turn.
He didn't have to hold on to them. He did it and then he removed his hand.
Yeah, it's because you don't have to hold it.
They always seem to hold on to them.
That's because somebody maybe just has a little trouble. Let it go. Let the technology doing its thing. No.
You will get a copyright notice.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. I know this was for a quick second, but there was an Indian guy on the bridge. I was so excited.
It's about time.
Yeah. I bet he's the same Indian guy who gets killed randomly as a red shirt in the original series. But I don't care. It was great. I saw an Indian guy. I was like, yes, my people.
Yeah, I want to see more white ladies. I'm just kidding. There are plenty of white ladies on the bridge.
Speaking of ladies, we saw Giorgio come onto the bridge and she's like, ugh, orange, really? She had a good little one-liners in this episode.
She did. She was very stressed out during this whole thing, and she was using snark to try and cover it up. But I felt like she was just like, oh, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I don't know how to fight this thing, because she's so used to knowing everything, and this is the thing that she can't figure out on her own, and it just really bugs her.
Best one-liner of the episode, though, in my book, what mirror universe? And then the wink. That was so good.
Yeah,
that killed it.
Well, of course he knew there was a mirror universe. He was briefed on Lorca.
Yeah.
And he obviously knew that this wasn't his Giorgio. So
here's something for the chat and for you too. I know for a fact that Pike has been in the mirrored universe. You know how?
How?
At the end of Star Trek Discovery Succession, the comic book series, there is a 2-page tease with Pike's captain's log when you see Enterprise coming in, and then he says something about Spock and how things turn out the way they are, and they've come in because they're inspecting the mirrored universe. So I don't know when in the timeline this happens, but Pike has been there.
Yes, very good. Good call.
Yeah.
Yes. I didn't remember that one. That's good.
For sure. I'm excited to see where that goes.
Yeah. Dang. Yeah, I love seeing the bridge. I mean, it's obvious that it's the bridge of the Enterprise while not looking exactly like the bridge of the Enterprise. I mean, I've seen some people online say it looks better than what we saw in Star Trek 09 in the movie Kelvin Universe bridge.
Well, I agree. It looks like people actually work there, for one thing. So it looks lived in without looking. I mean, it's shiny, it's bright, it's beautiful, but it looks like people work there. It looks like a place. And I think there were people saying, "Oh, it's just they probably just redressed the Discovery." No, they built this set. So why would they spend all that money to just build a whole new set
for 2 episodes?
I've heard that too, and I agree. But the Shenzhou was only used in 2 episodes, and they built a whole set for that. I know they've redressed it for Section 31, but it was only used in those 2 episodes.
But hey, guys, to be the devil's advocate, in 09 Star Trek, the Enterprise wasn't really used. That was the first time in the movie where it had its christening when it got shipped out.
Right.
Remember that? So yes. I guess it makes sense that one of them looks newer. I'm sorry, I love the 09 movie. I should not be so defensive.
No, it's great. What?
No, see.
No, there's no reason to discuss this. Anyway, because that'll go down a rabbit hole that we don't have time for.
Well, I want to know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
I saw the movie once and I didn't like it, and I've never revisited it
Well, that's
because
all right.
I was so angry the entire time I watched it.
Oh my gosh. Perfect. So we're going to do a commentary episode of Star Trek 09 with you, Brandi, live, going through the whole movie.
Okay.
Did you see the others?
Yes.
Did you like those?
I didn't like Into Darkness at all. I think I hated it even more than 09. But I really enjoyed Beyond.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, we're not gonna go down. And don't tell me to go back and watch it, because
no, I'm not telling you to go back and watch it. I'm just saying it'd be a great episode.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if I don't like something, it's okay that I don't like it. I'm not going around telling other people they shouldn't like it. I'm just expressing that I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like the characterizations. I didn't find it in any way plausible. And I just didn't enjoy seeing so much of Kirk's giant punched up face every other second. And it was just, and I went into it ready to like it. I had let go of any preconceived notions, and I went in ready to like it. And I'm like, oh no.
I have the perfect way to connect this back to Such Sweet Sorrow, because you didn't like 09 Star Trek that had a galaxy-threatening supernova, and Giorgio suggests that we go full supernova in this episode.
And kill everything. And a few dozen light years or probably further. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
but she's right.
Yeah.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. That's the philosophy she was going with.
Okay, one more thing, because I'm going to respond to some stuff going on in the chat. I know that 09 brought in a bunch of new Star Trek fans. I have never disputed that. I have never said that that was a bad thing. I am only speaking of my personal experience. So I'm not upset that it exists. I just don't like it. I just don't like it. And now we're going to stop talking about that.
Okay, we'll stop. I haven't said anything for a while about it.
I'm just responding to things in the chat.
It's okay. Yes, it's okay. That you're wrong. It's fine. No, I'm kidding. I'm just messing with you. No, don't you go. Don't leave.
Oh no. Speaking of talk.
I'm sorry.
Wait. What are you doing? You trying to save the show now?
Yeah, I'm trying to steer this back from the supernova into a non.
Yes, let's go to the supernova.
Yeah, speaking of talk, did you guys notice there's a bunch of technobabble in this episode?
So much.
There is. There is.
From the supernova to that crystal to whatever Poe was saying to Tig Notaro, Janetrino, just so much technobabble, man.
I gave up when Tilly and Stamets and Rena were all talking about the little time crystal and having it protected and all that, and I was just like, okay, I started losing at that point.
I feel like if I watched it about 10 times, I'd probably get some glimmer of understanding.
Just so much technobabble.
So much.
Which makes sense because the Enterprise is right there, and that has to rub off. If you're on the Enterprise, you say technobabble things. That's just how that works.
Yes.
So, okay, speaking of then, technobabble and Enterprise, our Discovery crew boarded the Enterprise. And now we know that we're going to take Discovery because Control has taken over Discovery and is integrating itself with the ship and now is protecting itself. So they couldn't destroy the ship. They couldn't use the self-destruct. So now we're going to...
The sphere data had taken over
the sphere data, yes. Yes, the sphere data took over the ship. And now the whole idea is to propel this ship into the future. Calypso, whatever. So that being said...
but we don't know it's Calypso. I'm just putting that up.
Well, we don't.
Right.
But let's assume, I'm going to assume that this Discovery ship is not going to be around at the end of the season. What's going to happen with our crew? Or maybe they will stay on. Do you think we'll see the return of this Discovery ship next season?
I don't know. And I'm okay with not knowing.
Well, if it does go into the Calypso territory, which is 1,000 years into the future, does that mean whatever the sphere is becomes Zora?
Right. That's what I assumed.
That's what I'm assuming too.
So this thing that is trying to kill the galaxy 1,000 years from now becomes a sweet AI.
No,
I know, it seems strange, right?
No, the sphere data isn't inherently evil.
Okay.
Control is.
That's
It's
true.
not.
We can't get those two things confused. You're right.
Exactly.
Control is something
True.
different. The sphere data is data.
Exactly.
Not data like Lieutenant Commander data.
Yeah.
Unless, no, forget.
Unless, no, we're not going there.
No, we're not going there. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Christopher Hill. I don't want a 1031A, no bloody A, B, C, or D on this Discovery.
No, I think they should get a completely different ship and just call it Discovery.
I do too. Or
Just get a different ship.
they don't even have to call it Discovery. Just because the show's called Discovery doesn't mean the ship has to be called Discovery.
Thanks for bringing up the name thing. You know what I realized when Pike was saying his goodbye to Michael? Discovery, the show is not just named because it's called Discovery. It's a woman discovering herself. Oh,
Yes. Yes.
so good.
Exactly.
So good.
Exactly.
That's genius.
This crew could end up serving on the Enterprise with Pike. I don't think that's what they're going to do, but I don't know. I'm just saying.
I mean,
know,
they're not coming back next year, right?
No, that's what they've said. Yeah, that Ethan Peck and Anson Mount aren't coming back for season 3.
Yeah.
Right, to Discovery. Right.
They didn't say that they weren't coming back ever.
Right.
True.
I'm just saying,
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we find out more things after the final season, after the final episode of the season has aired, because I'm sure they've got everybody so loaded up with non-disclosure agreements that nobody can really say anything. They can neither confirm nor deny anything.
Yep. That's fine, because we don't want to be spoiled.
Did you guys know there's a petition out there right now to get a Pike Discovery show going? I'm sorry, a Pike Enterprise show going?
No. Have you signed it?
No, I've not. I remember reading something about it yesterday, but I was reading it on wegotdiscovered.com, and apparently there's a entire group of fans that are petitioning for a Captain Pike spin-off. If there's anything we know about Star Trek, we know letters and stuff like that do work.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
My hopes are high. I don't know if they anticipated how popular Pike would be. I don't know if they really knew that it was going to have this kind of effect on fans. So maybe they did. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm sure we'll find out after the fact, but we'll see.
I also like how this episode was kind of the calm before the storm, because nothing really happens in this episode.
I was just telling that to Brandi before you joined us and we went live, because I said I've taken less notes on this episode than any other.
It's just people techno-babbling in ships and saying goodbyes.
The goodbyes, which, I mean, those are all important and great. I mean, there's a lot of stuff with the crew and, them writing, well, not writing, but speaking letters or whatever to their loved ones, saying goodbye, and also saying goodbye to each other. I mean, I would say, once again, this seems to be an emotional episode when, everybody's saying goodbye to one another. Brandi, wouldn't you say there was some emotions? Or how's the record going on cries per episode?
We're 13 for 13. This one probably destroyed me more than any that came before it.
So what destroyed you the most? Like which one?
Everything. Basically, from the moment that Michael realizes that she has to be the one to take Discovery into the future, and basically from that point on is just solid crying. Solid. See, I'm thinking about it, and I've got my tissue ready. And I think the thing that really made me start like sobbing was when Sarek and Amanda showed up, which I actually kind of expected some kind of contact with them, but I I thought, well, maybe they'll just send a message, and then the subspace relays had been taken down, and so they couldn't get a message through. And so I kind of thought, well, maybe they'll show up. I don't know. And so they did, and I'm just like, okay, why are you trying to kill me?
It was really heartbreaking when I saw Tyler and Burnham scene where she turns into her Vulcan self for a second, turns around, and she's ready to go. Then she just comes running back, and they kiss.
Yep.
So heartbreaking.
Yeah. All of it was just, it was hard because, this small group of people are giving up their lives to, make sure that this mission is a success, knowing that they probably have no chance of returning home. And Spock's non-reactions actually said so much. Like when she says that she has to be the one to take it in the future, and he's looking at her, and then he looks to the side. I think he's like looking at Pike for a reaction, and there's like nothing on his face, and yet there's everything on his face. It was one of the most brilliant things I have ever seen. I'm like, how do you do that? How do you have no reaction and every reaction at the same time? And he was doing that through the whole episode, and he was just so good at it. So yeah, there was tons of crying for me, and in fact, after I watched it the first time, I was crying for probably about an hour afterwards.
Oh wow!
And I started to get to the point where my eyes just really hurt. And so I thought, okay, I've got to distract myself. I've got to think of something else. And so, I involved myself in something else and got myself under control. But throughout the day today, every time I started thinking about it, I started doing this. And thankfully, my coworkers know me. And so they're just like, okay, so what happened on Discovery? So,
you're like, don't ask.
I can't talk about it, you guys. I can't talk about it. You'll just have to watch live, okay? And one of my coworkers actually does watch the show. So.
Oh, hi, coworker.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Chris.
Speaking of emotional devastation, I think this will never happen in a million years. But just imagine in the next episode, every person on this crew is dead. And then Discovery Season 3 comes back, but it's an entirely new crew on a new ship, and it's called Discovery.
They would lose all of their viewers.
Yeah.
Not me. I'd still tune in.
Yeah.
Okay, they would lose most of their viewers. That
right.
That is just that's a jerk move.
It's a ballsy move. It's a ballsy move.
I kind of like the ship voluntarily going away and being far, far away from anything, like Voyager at the beginning, when Voyager is just lost and they don't know where they are. Everything in every corner is completely invisible. That would be a cool thing for this crew, I think. It'd be a good test for them. Although at this point, I really want an episode. I want an hour where they are all just chilling, because I don't think I can handle any more pain to all of them. Each and every one of them is going through so much. If I just think about the number of things Burnham is going through, she has the family, she has her weird brother, she has Tyler.
Hey.
Oh, okay. Her emotionally unavailable brother, Tyler, and this responsibility of having to wear this suit that she has never worn before, and having to save the universe. It's just
we need them like going to Ryza or something like that.
Yeah.
No. Nothing good ever happens on Ryza. Ever. That place is nothing but trouble.
You know what would be good is if they are all back on Earth and they're all visiting family. No, I want them hanging out together. You're right. It needs to be something just kind of, they're all just together having a good time.
Yeah, Automated Joy just said it. We need a shore leave episode.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of, and we'll get back to the emotional stuff, because I don't want to just focus all on the emotional stuff, because Brandi won't get through the episode.
I will not. Thank you.
So, how about Queen Poe?
Oh, I loved seeing Poe again.
Isn't she great?
Yeah, well, they pretty much told us she was going to be in this episode by putting scenes from from Runaway, rather, in the previously on Star Trek Discovery. I'm just like, oh, Well, there are some people who saw this happening, so.
Mm-hmm. So
So
these
this was
episodes are connecting the short treks.
Yes,
yeah,
they
this
are.
was a good episode, but I don't know if I was surprised in any way. I don't know if I'm making sense. Like it was
No,
a good
I feel
story
the
to
same way.
watch, but
Yeah.
kind of predictable. And like the minute they shot at Discovery, I knew that thing's not going to go out. Somebody's having to go back there. I feel like the one surprise they could have had was Zahia and Poe, and they ruined it by showing it to us.
Yeah, well, I think that that may be like a higher power that made that decision, not trusting the viewers to remember. You know what I mean? Like someone at the top level who actually doesn't know that much about Star Trek or its fans just say, "No, you got to have this in there so that they remember this was like months ago." Yeah, no, we remember. We remember.
Well, Liam Smart says in the chat that he has issue with that they didn't show short treks overseas until the very beginning of season 2, and some friends didn't realize that those even existed.
And so they're seeing these previously on Star Trek thing going, "What is this? When
Right.
did this happen?"
Right, because they don't show up as regular episodes.
Crazy.
Yes, and automated joy. Giorgio hating ice cream was hilarious, handing the bowl over to Tilly.
They passed the ball literally around the room.
Yeah.
What was your favorite scene, guys? Which was the scene that really stuck out to you? That the one that really hit you hard in the feels, as they say.
All of the second half of it.
I would yes, I would say for me the feels like the most emotional, and I didn't get all that emotional while watching it, but Stamets and Culber, because it's the way Culber seems to approach Stamets is very like, hey, how's it going? Like very like receptive and like, glad to see him. And Stamets has already cut him off, has already distanced himself and said, I'm thinking of leaving. I had a chance to go join the Vulcan Science Academy or I'll go to a station or something. And it's like, they're still not connecting. It's like they're ready to be together. They're just not realizing that, Colbert's now ready. Colbert's now ready, but Stamets the damage has been done. And it's going to take a while.
Well, that's the thing, Stamets is protecting himself. Right. Because Culber has the power to hurt him more than anyone. And he will not survive another emotional damage from or because of Culber. He just won't. He's already been through everything that you can go through with, a mate, and it's just, he just can't do anymore. So he has to turn it off. He has to. It's a survival thing. And I'm sure deep down he wants to believe that they're going to reconnect, but he can't let himself believe that because that way lies disappointment and pain. And I totally get that.
It's a mirror to real life in a lot of ways too, because when you're in a relationship, that's mostly good. Sometimes you want to get back with that person, but they're not in the same place you are. And when you are in that place, they're not in the place. It's just, you just sometimes timing just messes things up. There is that too. Like at one point he wanted to get back Stamets, but Culber didn't. And now it feels like Culber wants to, but Stamets doesn't.
I went through a relationship like that in my youth. Of course it was my youth because I'm now married, but it was one of those like, I wanted to get together and she didn't. Then when she was ready to get together, I had already like moved on, and then I was interested again and she moved on. Like it was this back and forth weird stuff. But but I also thought it was weird because Culber to me seemed like I'm ready now, but then at the same time he's like, I'm going to transfer to the Enterprise, which surprised me because I would think he'd want to stay on Discovery, because I got the impression maybe he's trying to work things out with Stamets now, but maybe he's still moving on because they do mention forward motion is the most honest choice. That seemed to be, they both agree forward motion is the way to go, not being stuck in the past.
That is true. However, forward motion always doesn't mean moving apart from each other.
Right. But I think that's what they're thinking.
I don't know what they're thinking. What I was saying through that entire little scene in my head was, speak your heart, speak your heart, speak your heart, speak your heart. And neither of them did.
Well, I do think this is not the last chapter in that story.
Oh, I agree. This is definitely not the last chapter.
Well, I don't know,
Shashank.
you've killed off the crew, so
I did kill off the crew. I did do that.
You killed off every one of them. You ruined Discovery for all time, and now you come out with this. No, sir. Here I draw the line. This far and no farther.
Well, thanks for inviting me, guys. It was a good time.
It's been great having you. I hope you enjoy season 3.
I love you.
Won't be back.
All of you. I love all of you. Thank you for giving me the greatest moments of my life. I wish we had more time, but we don't. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry, Brandi.
You jerk. Okay, so the hardest moment really for me, I mean, there were many hard moments, but the hardest moment for me was Pike in his Enterprise uniform having his last few moments on the bridge of Discovery. And I'm just like, and he's never going to be on this bridge again, and I cannot handle that.
Yeah.
And I didn't know I was going to have this reaction at the beginning of the season. I'm like, oh, well, this guy is cool. And now it's just like, no, you can't leave me. We're not done.
You know, whatever the next episode is called, I forget the name, it could have the most incredible ending of all time. But people will still always remember season 2, A for Anson Mount, and right below is Ethan Peck as Spock. That's what they'll remember 5-10 years from now. When people go back and watch Discovery, it's like, oh my God, was that guy great?
Well, let me ask you this. I've saw some people online comparing this to Best of Both Worlds Part 1. Like,
yeah.
Is this up there for you?
The ending feels like it's kind of trying to be an homage to Best of Both Worlds. It felt more like a Battlestar Galactica mid-season episode ending where, you know, the Galactica is in the middle and then they find out that Cylons are everywhere. So they're like, prepare for battle. And then it cuts. It felt like that to me. I feel Brandy's nodding. So I think you agree, right?
I do. In fact, Best of Both Worlds didn't even enter my mind during that scene. Didn't even enter my mind because the way I remember Best of Both Worlds is this great first episode and a complete letdown at the beginning of the second one.
You don't want that again.
Oh, fire. And we come back. We've waited months for the new season to start. And oh, that attack did absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this didn't remind me of Best of Both Worlds, but I can see where some people are picking up on that. But yeah, it wasn't the same because it's like you were saying, Shashank. It's like nothing about this really was anything I wasn't already expecting, or nothing, no surprises. So it was great for the characters, but that's it. And yeah, Brandi, the thing with Pike, you know, leaving the bridge and their goodbyes, but it also reminds me of Burnham saying her goodbyes and telling everybody that, you know, they're family and she loves them, you know. And
by the way, I live in Arkansas and it's tornado season. So that's me every other weekend. It's like me going into a phone and saying, if I don't make it, Mom and Dad, I love you. Thank you for introducing America to me.
Oh no. Did you really do that?
It kind of gets scary here, man. Yeah. A couple of times I'll do my best to like leave a voicemail saying, hey, I won't say I'm going to die, but I'll say, hey, you know, if something happens.
My mother is from Arkansas, and I have heard some stories from her.
Yeah, it gets pretty scary when weather goes down here.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Well, if you join Starfleet, your families will understand that this is a moment that they have to accept.
Yeah,
that you may not be coming back. This is what you've signed up for, so who knows what's going to happen. I liked that being said because that reminded me of the Voyager crew. You know, they didn't see their families for 7 years. Of course, when they were thrown into the Delta Quadrant, they didn't know if they'd ever see their families. And I used to think, wonder what their families are going through. And when their families know what they signed up for and that this was a possibility. Not that it makes it any easier, but in a sense, I feel like there was preparation for that this could be happening, that they could go out into space and just disappear.
By the way, I'm sorry I didn't give you props for this at the beginning of the episode, but dude, you're recording this after a full day of convention going. So good job on keeping your energy up. I hope everybody in the chat knows he was out for a convention the whole day and he's recording now. So good job.
Not only that, but I just did a live show for Star Wars Report talking about the Star Wars trailer right before we started this.
Yeah. Good job. Seriously, I don't know if I could do it.
Well, thank you. And then I'm going to an improv show after this. It's going to be a late night.
Yeah.
Talk to me tomorrow and see how I'm doing.
Sure, I'll wake you up early in the morning and go. So what was happening on the ship?
I'm going to start messaging you at 6 a.m. your time.
Oh, heck no.
I'm just kidding. I would never
go ahead. My phone will be off.
No, I'm your friend. I would never do that.
Oh.
I will absolutely do it. You're glad I don't have your number, Bruce. Because I would do it.
There's a reason you don't have my number, and it's that.
There we go. Now we know. What did you guys think of? So really, I hope at least the next episode, which from everything we know is probably the last episode for that Enterprise crew. I really hope number one does something, because otherwise it was kind of a wasted role for her. No.
I agree. We're not really getting much of her as an actress. Even, she's not given anything meaty or juicy to do. She's just there. But I wonder if we don't get anything in this next episode much from number one, if they have done a short treks that we're going to see this summer using her or that bridge.
I guess we'll wait and see.
I mean, I don't know, but it would be great if they did.
I know. I would like to see more of her. I would like to see her utilized. And you can't do that when it's a guest shot like it is. And I understand why they did it this way, because honestly, we were lucky to get Pike and Spock in the same series. And I think that their thoughts were, okay, we can't have, number one for the rest of the thing too. That's just too much. So
then why get someone as high profile as Rebecca Romaine and, make a big deal out of it?
Because
I don't know.
Well, we haven't seen the last episode. We haven't seen the last
we'll have
episode.
to see.
Yes,
we can have this. We can have this discussion. Well, not we, because Shashank.
Thank you. Thanks for just rubbing salt in my wound.
And I have to thank the chat, because I said a meaty roll, and they're all jumping on hamburgers because I said meaty roll for her.
The chat never disappoints. Good job, chat.
Yep, always. Right on it.
So we talked a little bit about what do you think will happen to this crew. Do you think anybody's going to die in the next episode?
I don't know. There's no way to know, because they could.
Well, there's no way
anything.
to know.
Yeah.
There's no. Now they decided Burnham's closest crew friends, including Spock, have all decided to go into the future with her on Discovery.
Well, we know Spock comes back, because
Spock comes back, and Liam just said I was going to say. I'm wondering. Yeah, Reno.
Yeah, I think Jet Reno will die, because she'll give her life to get that time crystal charged.
Yeah,
that's my guess.
Or maybe it's
she'll give her life
with the big head.
That too. Do we know his name? I'd like to know.
No,
his name.
I don't.
Or I shouldn't assume gender.
Yeah, I felt like she had the body structure of a woman. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
but
it's difficult to tell. But yeah, Spock has plot immunity and series immunity, so it's not like they're going to kill him off. That would be too weird.
Yeah, but, I don't know what you do then.
Yeah, no, just they wouldn't do that. I don't know. I'm so emotionally strung out from this season that I don't know what to believe anymore. So I'm just gonna watch and find out.
Wouldn't it be number one?
Yeah, wouldn't it be great if at the end of episode 14, they're finally deciding the remaining crew on who's going to be the captain, and then they get a distress signal, and it's Prime Lorca?
I was thinking about that the other day. Yesterday.
We need Lorca back. We need Lorca back. We need that Prime Lorca.
I wondered that too. I thought about that one too. And then there's something else I was just thinking of, and now I forget. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I have to say. I don't remember. But yeah, Prime Lorca, I was thinking about that too, because, he could still be out there.
He definitely could.
Oh, I know what I was going to say too. And then, Pike says, the ship is going to need a captain.
Mm-hmm.
And we all look at Saru. And then later in the scene, Saru's just basically like, well, yes, we'll need a captain. I don't know if it'll be me, but who knows? Like, let's just do this.
He was looking at Michael when he said that. So I think that he thinks that she should be captain, and she probably thinks he should be captain, and they'll have to fight to the death. No, I'm kidding. Not a fight to the death.
Do you think Saru would actually be okay if Burnham was made captain?
I think he would. Not at the beginning. Yeah, not at the beginning of the season. Well, at the end of season 1, yes, and beginning of season 2, yes. Middle of season 1, no, he wasn't in that place, but he is now.
I think he'd have an issue with it.
I don't think so.
I mean, she would be leapfrogging him, and he's first officer. Why put her? I mean, I know they're friends, but I don't think he's that tight with her to be like, oh, sure, Burnham.
No, hey guys, I think that's why he said that there were many things to discuss about the captaincy after they were through this ordeal.
Well, I don't want that to happen.
Well,
I want Saru to be captain.
I'm not saying that it's going to. What I am saying is that he is going to say that she should be the captain, and she is going to refuse.
I don't want that for his character. I mean, I know what you're saying, that you're not suggesting that, but I'm just saying that I would not want the Saru character, after what we saw first season and this season, even though they're getting along better, that he would suggest Burnham be captain. I still think that, he feels that, especially now that he's more confident and is not fearful anymore, I would think he feels he's probably more ready for it, and he's not just going to suggest somebody else fill that role.
Well, I'm not entirely sure he wants to be captain.
Well, that's a good point.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring this up while we discuss that, just so it's something we mention. Did anybody notice the little snow globe that Tilly took?
I did.
I didn't. I was going to rewind to check that out, and I forgot. What is it?
Okay, so I read up on it, and it is a snow globe containing the Gateway Arch and Old Courthouse, both are which landmarks in St. Louis, Missouri. Or St. Louis, Missouri. Yeah.
Yeah, St. Louis is in Missouri. Oh. I've been there.
Is that where she's not from there, Tilly, right? I don't remember her being from there. Why would she have? What's the significance of that with her character? Do we know?
I don't know.
Okay. I didn't know if I'm missing something.
So apparently this is supposed to be an indication that she's from St. Louis.
Okay.
So we don't know yet where she's from in the places.
I don't remember, because in the novel that it touched on her childhood. I can't remember if it stated where she was originally from.
It didn't, as far as I remember.
Sure, somebody in our beautiful chat will know.
I mean, she had lived in different places.
Yes,
but I don't know if it touched on. Yeah, and maybe she had lived there. Like, why leave the globe? She was about to leave, then turns around and grabs the globe. Like, there's got to be some significance to that. Maybe we'll find that out later.
Perhaps.
That now you got me intrigued.
Yeah.
How dare you?
I'm sorry for discussing on a discussion show about discovery.
Stop bringing up good points in the show. This is
okay.
I'm sorry. That was it. I'm snarky when I'm stressed. To quote
Oh, that was like the understatement of the year. I read The Way to the Stars. That girl is more than snarky when she's under stress.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is. She's a force of nature, that one.
TKHUI9 in the chat. I didn't know how to pronounce that. Just read it. So it says, did someone take the telescope?
Well,
where's the freaking telescope?
It was given to Saru. So
Did
I
he
don't know
take
what
it?
he did with it. Don't know.
Maybe maybe Mir Georgia went and said, "Hey, isn't this mine?"
Sure she did.
Okay. Well, you know, I have to make this episode of Live from the Edge a little shorter than the others because I do have to run,
Yes.
you know, since I'm at a convention. So let's give final thoughts and ratings and allow the chat to let us know on whatever scale you want to use to tell us what you thought of this episode. So, Shashank, what do you think?
Okay, I think a good rating system is how many sections out of section 31. And for me, it's a section 30 on 31. I really am taking out the one section because I just didn't really feel surprised. But overall, it was a good episode, very engaging, a lot of great moments, surprisingly light for a dark end of the crew episode. So yeah, section 30 out of 31 for me. Those are my final thoughts.
All right, Brandi.
Well, and Dave and I were talking about this earlier, and I'm pretty sure he mentioned it in the chat. And he had a creative writing teacher that told him this. I had a creative writing teacher who told me something very similar, is that plot is the least important thing in a story. What is the most important thing is your characters and the moments with those characters and the story that you get to tell through them. But the actual plot itself, not as important. If you have great characters, if you have well-rounded characters, interesting characters, you can literally fill an entire hour of character moments and it will tear my freaking heart out in the best way. So I will give it 10 out of 10 departing Captain Pikes.
That's a lot. Well, with all the different universes out there, there could be that many Pikes. So that makes sense.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's probably millions of different universes.
Right. So. But not all of them are departing.
No. Just 10. Just 10.
Just 10. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I agree with that. And I think the thing for me is the whole episode. I mean, the episode works for me, but I think because it feels so much like an episode setting up the next one,
right?
I need the next one to really evaluate this because I feel like it's just I read the first half of a book, and I'm not going to judge the book until I read the other half. But reading this half of the book, and see, I have to say book because you know I'm a literary Treks guy. Oh, everyone,
take a drink.
I got McDonald's drink right here. So I'm going to say out of 100 shuttles, 78 have been retrofitted for combat.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So what are other people saying in the chat? What are the ratings?
I think somebody said 8.5 out of 10 bowls of ice cream. Steve HUI9, good job. 9 out of 10 Pike Winks. Automated Joy, way to go.
Oh, I see 13 out of 13 Brandy's tears.
I got plenty to spare, y'all. I got so many tears. So
8 out of 5, 8.5 out of 10 bowls of ice cream. I like that one. Yeah. 9 out of 10 snow globes. 100. Okay, this is Dave. I have 100 out of 1 visions of the future.
And my brain is now broken. Thanks, babe.
Oh, and sorry, Christopher. Yeah, no Spock's butt in this episode.
Except for us mentioning it.
Yeah, people are really
2 out of 2 Spock butts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, some good. Yeah, I see 9 out of 10, 4 out of 5. Yeah. You know, we're kind of hitting. That's about where it was last week too, I think.
Yep.
So maybe a little better than last week, which is pretty awesome. Hey, last episode next week. I still haven't seen if we got a title for that yet. I tried to look for it a moment ago and I can't find anything.
I don't know either. I guess we'll see.
Why are they waiting so long for titles?
Because they don't want any preconceived notions, is what I'm thinking.
I guess.
Well, I mean, if you think about this one, it's such sweet sorrow. And, you know,
Yeah.
It's full of sorrow.
Actually, Liam Smart says Such Sweet Sorrow Part 2, and it's confirmed.
Oh.
Oh,
So
really?
It really was meant to be one big episode, but they split it in half.
Oh, because remember, we were supposed to have 13 episodes, right? And they added another. Is that right? I remember last season it was supposed to be 13, and then they said, oh, they were adding 2 more and made it 15. This season, I remember hearing 13, and they were adding 1 more, make it 14. So maybe they were going into this one, and they said, hey, we could use a little more time. Let's just split this episode into 2.
Yep, that's probably what they did.
Since it cost a lot of money to build the Bridge of the Enterprise for just 1 episode.
It is very pretty. It's very pretty.
Yeah, totally worth it.
Totally. All right. So, Shashank, where can we find you online?
You can find me on @gutter_e_hero. That's GUTTER_HERO on Twitter. I also do a Star Trek podcast in which we talk about the politics and culture of the real world from the lens of Star Trek episodes and movies, and we're called Polytreks. POLITREKS.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us. Brandi, where can we find you?
Places.
Places.
Go find them. No, you can find me on Twitter, Brandywine12, or sometimes Dark Amy Nose Rockets. You will find me here for one more week. You will also find me on the Dark Corner podcast with my very intelligent and wonderful husband, Dave, talking about stuff and things from sort of a darker lens. There are colorful metaphors in that one. And right now I'm also guesting on some episodes of the Twilight Zone podcast, which you can find at thetwilightzonepodcast.com, covering the new series of the Twilight Zone that just started last week. Yay. And so my Thursday nights have been kind of crazy this week and will be next week too, because Twilight Zone drops on the same day as Discovery. So there's where you can find me. Did I cover all of it? Yes, I did.
Awesome.
Bruce, what about
okay,
you?
Chat. Chat. I need you to tell us what voice Brandy's supposed to do for the closing.
No, I've already got one.
Oh, okay, good. Well, then forget. You can find me on Twitter at Admiral_Rex. You can find me on the Star Wars Report talking about Star Wars Celebration this week and the trailer and everything else that's going on. And you can also find me on Literary Treks here on Trek FM talking about Star Trek books and comics. Hey, Shashank, do you like comics, Star Trek comics?
Yes, I love Star Trek comics.
I know you do.
Thanks for asking.
Yes. All right, Brandi. So what's the closing idea that you had?
Okay. There's a couple of ways I could do this, but I have chosen the one. I thought I was going to do this for the final one, but I'm going to do it for tonight. I'm going to bring out my Tilly. Tilly's coming out.
Tilly.
Yep. Okay, guys, be sure to check out our Discovery coverage throughout the week because, there's going to be like a lot of shows going on and I don't want you to miss anything. So starting with us, of course, you've got to watch us first. We're the best. Live from the Edge airs on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, but that's really only for one more week. So you really got to get in there now. If you're not in there now, that's going to be a problem. And then there's a commentary, Tracks from the Edge. We'll discuss your feedback on postcards from the Edge. You can catch the full analysis on the Edge main show and join us for Notes from the Edge with our own Chris Jones for links between Discovery and the broader franchise. And you'll find all of these. Guess where? Anyone? Well, of course, you're going to find them on the Trek FM master feed for the Edge. I mean, really, if you think about it, that's kind of logical. I don't know why you didn't come along with me on that. But anyway, back to this. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Discovery. Well, maybe we don't really. If you're going to be really negative about it, then we don't want to hear about it because this is a positive place of love and peace. So the best place to do that is the Babel Conference, which is our listeners group on Facebook, and Amy Nelson. Oh my God, guys, do you know Amy Nelson? She is like so good at math. She is so good at math, y'all. Okay, so anyway, she'll collect all your feedback for Postcards from the Edge, and you can find us on Twitter at TrekFM, sorry, and send us an email. Send us an email for using the contact form on the website at trek.fm/contact. Choose to send to a show and choose the Edge. You know what? The Edge is really my favorite show, guys. I mean, I really think a lot about this show, and I think all of the different versions of the Edge really come together and form a very cohesive whole. And I really appreciate everyone's support on this, which is especially from our associate producers, Yeah, guys, we have associate producers. Of course we do. And I'm going to tell you who all of them are. So buckle in. So Norman Seelau, Tony Robinson, Thomas Paleo, Lisa Slack, Shoaib Mirza, Richard Rutledge, James Muldrow, Cornelia Reutner, Ryan Millett, Chris Teruzio, and Brian Malosh. Oh, wow, you guys, we made it to the end of this, and I'm feeling, like this may be the last time that I get to do this, So, oh wait, there's one more week, isn't there? I'm sorry. I feel my feelings. So if you'd like to help us keep all our shows going and become an EP, you can visit patreon.com/TrekFM for all the details.
Thank you, Tilly.
Yes. That was beautiful.
Well, so why'd you decide to do that this week? If you're going to do it the last one.
I'm going to be in a different location next week, and I just feel more comfortable in my own home.
That's true.
I wanted to do it in my sanctuary.
Yes.
With my pictures of Tilly behind me up on the wall, and you can't see them. If I tilt this up a little more, you can see them right there.
Oh, there we go.
Tilly and one of Tilly. So there will be more to come.
Yeah. Well, that was awesome. You're even getting a standing ovation from the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, y'all are too kind. Thank you.
We'll have to send this to CBS, and maybe you can play like Tilly's cousin.
Mom?
No.
Tilly's mom. Yeah.
I don't think Tilly's mom would act that way.
No, she wouldn't. Not at all. And actually, she's already been on the show, so she was in.
That's true. That's
in holographic form. So.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us once again. Next week, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, here on YouTube, the Trek FM channel. Join us. Shashank, thank you so much for joining us. We'll have you back on a Short Treks or season 3 or something like that at some point. And chat, thank you. So everyone, and Zod was very quiet.
He was very quiet today.
The dog, Zod.
Very good boy. Very good boy.
So everyone, live long and prosper and
keep calm and disco on.